Okay, well, part 3 here. Since I don't really know what else to do with the fuel system, we're going back to basics. And even though I just changed this fuel filter about 3 or 4 months ago, I'm just going to give it a try. And I got another one here, the fuel water separator. So I'm going to get that switched out, and then I'll see about how much junk is left in this one and if there is any buildup. Probably also try to blow out some of the lines to the injectors here, just in case they have any residual dirt in them getting to the injectors. But other than that, I'm going to try using some anti-gel in the fluid, in the fuel too. This is really more for like cold weather, but the fuel I have in the tank over there is from about a year ago, so it could have a little bit of gelling issues. So we're going to mix this in here, change the filters, and see how it goes. We'll get this one off of here. Hopefully. Oh man, that's good. Of course, I don't have my filter wrench here. Okay, that's loose. This one popped open. Curious to see if there's any residue actually in this filter. Just hand snug is plenty. All right, so for this diesel exhaust supplement here, diesel fuel supplement here, we're gonna add 32 ounces to 100 gallons. There's probably 10 gallons in here, so I'll just throw a little bit in and see how it goes. Shouldn't need that much, and I'll just put the rest in the storage tank over there. Let it work its way through the rest of the tank. All right. Let's get this in here. Just drop it right through the fuel pickup over here. Just gonna let this drop in and mix up a little bit. That'll work. About 4 or so ounces in there. Okay, so I just have a bucket here I've been using for all my trash for now. We'll get this cleaned up afterwards, but I'm just gonna try and filter this down through this cloth a little bit. And there's a little bit of crud in there, but really nothing. Oh yeah, never mind. Boy, this thing's nasty. Oh, there's a lot of sludge in there. Just from those couple hits, we've got a decent amount of junk in the bottom of this filter, so oh yeah. I'm pretty sure this could be causing an issue for our fuel system here, so let me grab another rag. Clean rag here and see. I mean, you can see the large amounts of debris and disgusting grease and stuff that's coming out of this filter. So I'm thinking this filter was probably our issue all along. And even though I just changed it, I guess you shouldn't rule out the easy stuff early on, but I guess it was still okay because I had to fix that pickup tube which would have been a problem later on anyway. But all right, I'm gonna get this reprimed here. Let's see what we can do. Take it for a little test drive, make sure it's good. If it for some reason does the same thing again, I'm definitely going to look into cleaning out the tank, draining all the fuel out, and just doing what I can to clean the tank, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there, I guess. Okay, well, take two. Let's see if it works this time with the new filter. Okay, so we're still having the same issue, but the skid steer did make it a lot longer before it died, so I think we're on the right track. So I think the next step is we're going to try to get into this tank and see just how much dirt and grime is actually in here and see if we can clean it out, because I think we have too much stuff getting picked up by the filter down here. So I think when I was looking at this before, there is this breather tube that goes into the top of the tank over here, and it's probably about 1.25 inches, inch and a half diameter. So that should be big enough that I could get a camera in there and see how bad the fuel tank is. But we'll get the fuel drained out and we'll get the camera in there and see what we have and go from there. Thanks. All right, so it's day 3 working on the skid steer here, and since it was able to run a little bit longer with changing the filter out last time, but it was still getting a lot of buildup in it, I'm going to try to do what I should have done at the beginning and drill a 3.5 inch hole in the top of the fuel tank here where all that extra space was, and that'll let me put the sewer line camera I have down there to see just how nasty it is. And then to clean it out, just have this little Milwaukee battery powered pump here, and we'll just put some extra clean diesel fuel in there and just keep pumping it out until we get this thing as clean as we can. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so I know it's going to be hard to see, but hopefully there's enough light. And basically all I'm going to be doing is putting the drill in here and drilling right in the top of the fuel tank there, just this 3.5 inch hole. I've already cleaned it off as best I can with a rag, that way no extra dirt falls in there. And once I get this hole drilled, I will catch back up with you guys and see how it goes. Now the trick here is I really don't want to drop this thing down into the tank. So I'm going to try to take my time and just drill in small bursts here. That way I can try to catch it when it comes out. And I'm through. All right, let's hope this thing's still on here. Dropped in pretty quickly. Just get it out of here and of course. So I didn't quite get to hold on to it, but hopefully I can suction it out with this vacuum. But all right, now that we have this through, we'll get our camera out here and see if we can see just how nasty it is in here. So originally I tried taking off the vent tube like I wanted to previously, and it's a lot smaller diameter than I thought, so even the camera wasn't able to fit down there. Maybe a small inspection camera could have fit down there, but really if I wanted to get this cleaned out anyway, I needed the bigger hole. I'll set you guys up here so you can see too, hopefully. Okay, so hopefully you can kind of see that in there. So kind of show the setup here. I have the camera out. And I have the LED turned all the way up so we can hopefully see. So here's what we're working with. Going down. So a little easier to see now, but here I originally wanted to try to go into this fuel level sensor hole, but I tried loosening this nut here and it started to crack the plastic. It's pretty brittle, so try to avoid that. Here's the hole we just drilled, obviously, and if we look back a little further, here is the pickup on the right that we originally took out and replaced, and then the return line there on the left, and then the vent tube that I took off was this hole. So you can see it's a much smaller diameter than what we could have worked with, so that's where this 3.5 inch hole comes in. So, and of course I just ordered a 3.5 inch plastic plug for this for when we're done. So I can see there is a ton of fuel left in here, and when I tried to even hand pump it out before, there was no fuel, so it was clogging up even just a hand pump on the valve. So yeah, tons of fuel left in here. So I'll try and get this camera set up a little bit so I can see, and then we will pump some of this out. And it's in the fuel. Okay, so I'm just going to clean this hose while I put it in here. This kind of defeats the purpose to put a dirty hose in there. And we're at the bottom, so plenty of hose. Oops, dropped in the diesel fuel there. So there's our hose on the left, and I'm just going to start priming this out into this fuel tank here, seeing what kind of garbage we get out. Alright, there she goes. So here's our setup here. Got the pump going, you see some fuel in there, and it's filling up pretty fast. So let's see where we're at, because this thing works very well. See if I can set you guys up over here. Okay, we're good. pretty well, but I'm gonna get another hose, try and line it up with this, make it a little bit easier. Okay, so a little bit better setup now. So I have the pump pumping from the fuel tank there down through the pump itself, and then just grabbed another couple inches of hose to put into the fuel tank here. So I'll get this pump turned back on and we'll see how it goes. It's going. I mean, it's not fast by any means, but it's definitely better than trying to hand siphon it out like I was before. So I'll get this pumped out of here and then catch up with you guys after that. Okay, so I just got most of the fuel siphoned out. It probably took about 14 or 13 gallons out of here. So pretty much what I expected. The bottom of the tank is pretty much sludge. So let's see if I can get you guys down here to actually see what's going on. I don't know how good the lighting's gonna be, so we'll do our best here. Probably not much lighting down there. Let's see if I can get the camera going here. Use the camera light. So this is basically what we're looking at here. So just hopefully too much glare here. So here's the bottom of the tank. High spots look good. Oops. But of course, down on the bottom part there, on the bottom right, that's kind of where the pickup tube is, of course, and where all the most sludge is. So I'm wondering if I can just move where the pickup tube goes, get it out of this stuff here. It's hard to see exactly where the pickup tube ends, but I can reach it if I get in there pretty deep with my arm. So I'm gonna attempt to get this cleaned out a little bit and see if that helps at all. But first I'm gonna try to get this pickup screen out of here and see if it actually is clogged up, because that'll be a good indication of how much gunk has to actually come out of the bottom of this. All right, so after looking at this for a while, I really don't think there's any way I'm gonna get all of that sludge cleaned off the bottom of the tank. The geometry of the tank is just too complicated and has too many nooks and crannies to really get a good cleaning. So I don't think it's gonna make much of a difference. So my new plan here, I got the pickup tube out that I put in the last video. And all I'm gonna do is actually just shorten this tube to the point where it's just barely grazing the bottom of the tank. And that way, I won't be able to use every drop of fuel because it'll be sitting maybe about ½ an inch above the bottom of the tank, but at least it won't be sucking up all the sludge off the bottom of the tank. So other than just keeping an extra gallon or so of fuel in the bottom of the tank, I think it shouldn't make much of a difference. So just gonna try to get this in there as best I can and keep test fitting it until I can get this pickup tube to just sit just above the bottom of the tank. Okay, so you can see I got the pickup tube there on the top right. If I can get this camera adjusted. It's hard to tell in the video, but basically have it to where it's just barely touching the top surface there. You can actually see just how much sludge and grime is in the bottom of this tank. So really wish they had a drain plug on these things that you could actually drain them out, clean them more thoroughly, but this will have to do. So I'm going to give this a shot. Funny enough too, see if I can get you set up here with a better view. I found 3 more pickup tubes into the bottom of this thing. So if I angle the camera this way, you see there's one, hard to tell from the video, but, and there's 2 more. So 3 total. I have no idea where they came from. I was expecting at least 1, but there's 2 more pickup tubes in there that must have been from maybe previous jobs or something. I don't know. Either way, very interesting to see. So I'm gonna get this camera out here, get some of the lines back in, and go from there. See if we can get a plug for this thing, put some fuel back in here, and clean this thing out as best we can. All right, well, I know it's getting a little late, probably a little dark, but I was able to get this thing to prime on the ball, so might as well just fire it up and give it a shot and see if this actually works. So I didn't change the filter. I know it stalled last time, so I'm gonna go with that old filter still, and if I have to empty it out, I will worry about that the next time. So let's see how it goes. All right, well, that's a good sign. I mean, that's pretty much the longest it's made it since this problem started going. I'm not gonna hold my breath just yet. I'm gonna give it probably a real test in the next couple days here when I finish up the swale in my backyard. Okay, well, it's been a few days, and I was able to use the skid steer for a couple jobs around the house just to get a good test, and it does seem to be working now. So I think shortening the pickup tube was the trick. So if anyone's having this problem later on, it doesn't seem like any of the simple things are working out, it might be best just to either drain the fuel and see if you can clean out the bottom of the tank, or just shorten your pickup tube by a few inches. I know it's hard to tell just how long it needs to be, but if you're able to keep it about an inch off of the bottom of the tank, it seems like it's doing pretty well. I have about 5 hours on the machine now since I made the repair and haven't had any issues yet. So I'm going to call this one fixed and on to the next project. See you then.